without a conviction, pictures, without a conviction, without a prosecution. And I'm suggesting to you that in the event that you fail, you see,
they don't deny the
you see,
they don't deny. They went to court and failed miserably. They went to court and failed miserably.
My law lecturer, please let me finish.
Whatever. They went to court. The case collapsed.
When you have your time, you can do that.
What court again are they going to?
See,
give to worry. Look at that nonsense, and you are here supporting it.
I'm not supporting it. I'm saying that you are a lawyer. You are a lawyer. My senior legal practitioner is also here. Why do you hang people? Why do you hang people?
Abusiamfo say the nyina yehu at the beginning of the video no. Lawyer Kweku, the failed demonstration organizer. I ne and this Yamanyoku ayino say oba be part of the ORAL Committee. Committee be almost say the mo beye and some beye hwehwemu. No mo chesi sika bia MPP Yamanyoku mismanaged during the time of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo na mamuomu. Na we mu na ne sabio lawyer Kweku ene Vincent ono nso gina ho ema MPP Amanyoko no ewo district assembly ministerial positions ni bi ene kohyia ye ewo TV3 news for whatever it is omudi nkomo na nkomodie mu no ena Vincent be yi nsembri magu ho se how can you choose okudzeto abrakwa to come and be a chair of a committee omoko fight against corruption? Now no mom na under his tenure as Deputy Minister of Education. Here the ghost names egugu sabio National Services. Here the amanfo din wudo mabra no munye adwuma na etuomoka. Na obetunya fasa ni pan so no mom na nko fight against corruption in the system. Vincent said the NDC Oral Committee is bound to fail because the credibility of the people they don't have it. Apro and Yenko Vincent Abra one of the Oral Committee members lawyer Kweku omoko shia na omoye banks to banks. Kai say hi RAZ Media. Subscribe and like the video. Macron.
Mr. Asifo, there were specific references to some issues that even borders on your ministry, local government, about that DRIP project. You've paid 15%, right? Is that true?
Yes.
You paid 15% of the total.
Let me address it.
So
let me address the matter well. You see, the Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa has done a certain disservice to the Ghanaian people.
Which is what?
All that he sought to do was to throw about figures.
But he showed you some documentation.
No problem. I am anticipating and hoping that the Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa within the next 1 year or 2 years, and I'll hold him to his words. And I think that this Oral Committee, if this is how they are going to start, is bound to fail. Because you are just throwing about figures just like that without any basis. That is why initially I said that the Oral Committee will be exposing themselves to defamatory acts or actions in future. See, my ministry, I'll take them one by one. The Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa is saying that the DRIP machines that was procured by the government cost about $178 million, which he has included in the $18 billion that to him is suspicious and needs to be reclaimed by the Oral Committee and, if you like, by extension, the government. Now, how do you include $178 million, which is supposed to be the cost of machinery, as far as the DRIP project is concerned, as part of the 18 billion that you are putting out there that it is suspicious of corruption, and for that matter, you want to claim these monies? When the $178 million has not been, as it were, investigated or put out for the Ghanaian people to know the true components of what constitutes the $178 million. Now I have the contract in my hands. The contract between the government of Ghana and that of JA Plan Pool and the District Assembly's Common Fund. Now on page 20, on page 20, it details the true component of what constitutes the $178 million. Number one, tipper truck equipment was labeled as $78,000. Today, let your cameramen go to companies like Zonda, all these companies who sell some of these machines, and go and ask how much a tipper truck costs. A quick check will tell you that at Zonda, a tipper truck will cost about $82,000. No, please hold on. Give me time. You gave him 1 hour.
But
he threw.
No, you
Alfred.
that he made reference to the Chinese manufacturers.
Alfred.
Shangjin Automobile Holding
Alfred,
Group.
please.
What was
please.
that?
I'm saying that this is the contract, and I have it in my hand. The contract is saying that government bought a tipper truck for $78,000, and I am suggesting to you that we have some of these companies here in Ghana. I am pointing to you, Zonda Company Limited, which is around Tema. Go and ask how much a tipper truck costs at Tema. Today, it's about $82,000. How do you sum this up to $178 million and say that we need to reclaim these monies because to you, it is suspicious of corruption? How? And you throw these figures out just like that. Number two, you see a backhoe here. It has also been labeled as $78,000. Please, again, go to Zonda, go to any company. You have your cameraman here. Let's not do this to ourselves. This agenda of making government look very bad by just throwing out figures without any basis whatsoever. In Otafu, I have a tipper truck. A tipper truck was given to me by DRIP.
I see.
To embark on expansion of roads infrastructure and what have you. How then do you label that as part of the 18 billion as suspicious of corruption? Why do we do this to ourselves?
So would
please hold
open,
on.
Would you be open for investigation?
So that's what I'm suggesting to you, that your cameraman,
your
cameraman should go to Zonda.
Be open for investigation.
Yes, because the 18 billion that you've thrown out there, that this 18 billion is suspicious of corrupt acts and more practices and what have you, lacks no basis. You have just played to the gallery, and unfortunately some people will buy into this. And that is why I'm hurt that you yourself could not even ask him very cogent question for him to explain why you are throwing some of these figures out. Number three, water tanker, $84,000. Please go to Zonda again. Go to some of these Chinese companies across. How much is a water tanker? This is what constitutes the $178 million. Please, let's not do this to ourselves. And that is why I'm saying that the committee is bound to fail because ab initio, they are just doing politics with everything. They are not. Of course, because you see,
I've already told people how we amend the OSPR. We've already learned a lot. It cannot fail.
Please, you see, when I listened to him,
your point.
He made a comment that the tenure of this oral committee ends as soon as a new AG is sworn in.
Yes.
Please, are you saying that Ghanaians cannot also participate in any future or anticipated corrupt practices under this new government? And for that matter, we won't have, or we shouldn't have, the oral committee, the same mentality that you have, that you want to use the oral committee to deal with corruption in this country. If you are going to ban it as soon as a new AG is sworn in, does it mean that?
No.
That's what he said. You are not here. Hold on, you are not here.
No, please, Counsel, I want you to.
You were not here.
I will actually have you respond.
He made mention of the fact that, and you, Mr. Martin Pebu, you were here when you said that you do not even trust these state institutions because there are gaps or lacunas as far as their procedures in prosecuting corruption is concerned. Are you saying that right after you end the tenure of the oral committee, it means that those gaps has been filled or what? Please, you are playing to the gallery. You should stop this. It is not right. I just saw in the presentation that the Honorable Okudzeto presented to us. I saw Madam Gifty. Me, I was the National Service President of national service persons across the country in 2013. Honorable Eduodi Tamaklo was here. We met in court a number of times around NASPA elections and all that. At the time, the Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa was the Deputy Minister of Education, having a direct supervision and superintended over the actions and inactions of the national service as an agency of the Ministry of Education. What happened during his time? I was there. I was part of it. The ghost names that engulfed the national service list.
You had ghost names in that time?
Of course. And that's what I'm saying, that I was the national service president that he, Okudzeto Ablakwa. Hold on.
Which specific case of the ghost names are you talking about?
Oh, you're not aware?
Give us details, that particular year.
When some of these directors have been prosecuted?
No, that particular year.
I am saying that in 2015 or 2014, when I was the national service president for NASPA, that was when news broke about ghost names in the national service payroll. And the Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa was the Deputy Minister of Education at the time, having direct supervision over the activities of national service. At the time, it was over 300,000 people. Today, you are just making an allegation against an innocent soul, in my estimation, because there has not been any prosecution and conviction thereof. And in the event that you fail about these allegations that you are making, are you not opening yourself for defamation actions against the members of the Oral Committee? And that is what I'm saying, that the Oral Committee itself, as far as I'm concerned, may be necessary, but there was no need for you to put it out and make it look as if that you are going to fight a certain corruption, where those corruption allegations that you are even speaking to lacks legal basis.
So granted,
number two,
I'm coming.
Hold on, let me get to the Pualugu. You see, Alfred, this is what you've been doing. This is what you've been doing. It's so unfair.
Based on
when Pebu is talking, you allow him to speak. When Okudzeto is speaking, you allow him to speak for about an hour. You gave him because you see, no. Let me finish.
The question.
No, I will not answer your question. I will not answer your question. Let me finish because it's my time. This is not fair. You allow them to speak. It's a show for them.
Hold on.
It's a show for the NDC.
Hold on. Now,
this is not fair.
You made a reference to what happened in 2013, 2014. I wanted to find out from you, granted that if that happened, does that mean that this is not worth also looking
at? The credibility of the person saying it is what is questioned. The credibility of the chairman of the Oral Committee is what I am questioning.
I see.
Because he was the one superintending over the activities of the national service. Why don't we know what Okudzeto Ablakwa has done in this country? Don't we know? Do you want to go into the credibility of even the persons who have been named and mentioned as members of the Oral Committee?
So how much of
are we giving meat to dogs? Is that what is happening? Please, let us not do that.
I see. That's how you see it.
Yes, because you see, he has come to, as it were, throw figures around without any basis. And I'm suggesting to you that I have the contract in my hands. How do you lamp up $178 million as part of an $18 billion dollars that is supposed to be reclaimed by government?
You know, the National Service investigation was a fourth estate investigation, not necessarily.
This is something that they have adopted. It is part of his presentation. You are exposing innocent souls with their pictures without a conviction, without a prosecution. And I'm suggesting to you that in the event that you fail, you see,
they don't deny
you see,
they don't deny. They went to court and failed miserably. They went to court and failed miserably. What kind of analysis?
My law lecturer, please let me finish.
They went to court. The case collapsed.
When you have your time, you can do that.
What court again are they going to?
See,
give to worry. Look at that nonsense, and you are here supporting it.
I'm not supporting it. I'm saying that you are a lawyer. You are a lawyer. My senior legal practitioner is also here. Why do you hang people? When you are hanging the person. Why do you hang people when these people have not been prosecuted or convicted?
We don't need a prosecution. We can name and shame.
What you guys are doing.
We can name and shame based on the report.
Mr. Akwebu, stop this. What you guys are doing with the Oral Committee is a usurpation of state power and state institutions. Why am I saying this? The AG and the UOCO and the special prosecutor has every legal mandate to be able to receive evidences, to be able to receive documents. This is part of the legal mandate of all these state institutions, including the CID. Please, Oral Committee, what is your legal basis? What is your basis for usurping state institutions as far as their mandates and powers are concerned? I'll come back to the Pualugu project. I was in Parliament when the Public Accounts Committee raised this on the floor of Parliament. Okay. I was sitting with one of the committee members who failed to catch the eye of the speaker. What the committee member told me was that, why? When you see a plane land and we say that we spent $11 million, can that be enough conclusive justification, for Christ's sake, for us to say that because you've seen a plane land there, it is corrupt malpractices or corrupt act? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Compensations can be made even when you are clearing the land. Let us not do that. This is not fair. This is what you people have been doing for the past 2-3 years. Hang people with corrupt acts without necessarily pointing to the exact things that have really happened. Please, the fact that there is a plain land means that it is flouted with corruption, just like that, without knowing what really constitutes the $11 million.
Okay, so
even demolition. Can you say that if you want to if you want to demolish a project or a building, and make sure that you pay compensations, those things that don't cost, we have to take our time and make sure that what constitutes the $11 million is explained to us as Ghanaians before we can hang people.
But
no, again, Cecilia Dapa,
you will talk on the
she mentioned you allowed Okudzeto to speak for like an hour. Okudzeto is saying that we found $1 million under the bed of.
Is it a fact or he's saying?
Please. So because of that, that is corruption. Because of that.
But what do you think? Why do you find in that direction? The rule is that if you find money that is beyond somebody's income straight,
that is what I'm saying.
They are headed in that direction.
This committee is bound to fail because you are just playing to the gallery. You are playing to the gallery and you are doing politics with everything. Today, if you come to Parliament, everything has been politics. The NDC has had this as their stock in trade for the past 4 years, and unfortunately, they've won the minds of some Ghanaians. Why is it that we come to Parliament, there's another paper which did not suddenly arise for the past 3 months, that we know that the components or the line items of the other paper says that we are supposed to deal with 1D, 1F. We are supposed to deal with tax exemptions. We are supposed to deal with loans. We are supposed to deal with the approval of justices. And somebody comes to Parliament and tells you that because now we won an election, you are not the leader of government business. You have the minority side with the support of the speaker now dictating to majority side as to what should be taken on the floor of Parliament. Please, let's not do this.
But Mr. Futsefo, don't you think that it's actually an indictment on the intelligence of Ghanaians to say that the NDC put out just the politics of it, and people believed it and voted them into power?
Please, am I not giving you basis? See, hold on.
So are you saying that Ghanaians are that gullible?
Please, listen to. Please don't put words in my mouth. No. I have just shown you. I have just shown you a contract and its terms. These are things that Okudzeto started long ago. I have seen. I received a letter from the Honorable Mahama Yarega. I was copied as a Deputy Minister for Local Government when he was triggering the Right to Information Act, seeking for the amount of money that was used for the purchase of these machines. Now, we supplied these contracts and we supplied the line items as to what constitutes the $178 million. How do you see, it is senseless for you to add $178 million as part of the $18 billion that is supposed to be reclaimed in their own estimation. It's not fair. Let's not treat people like this.
Because you're a member of
Parliament. Let's not smear the integrities and reputations of people just because you want to, as it were, win the hearts of Ghanaian people just without any basis at all. You don't do that.
So when this matter of the president's travels came up in Parliament, because that's one of the issues you mentioned, when the question was asked about how much, not the president's travel schedule, or the route, how much it is costing us. And we did not get those answers and the details of the cost to the taxpayer. Did it not concern you, or for you, it was okay that that information was escalated to national high-level security status?
Please, when there are questions that are asked on the floor of Parliament, sometimes you give enough time for the sector minister who is responsible,
but this one's for
or the institution that is responsible. You know what you do on the floor of the House if you think that questions of such nature has not been answered to.
No, but the answer was given. This one, I'm telling you the answer that was given.
So you were not satisfied with the answer?
No, were you satisfied?
No, I'm asking you, but were you satisfied?
No, I was not satisfied. That's what I'm asking you. You were in Parliament. Were you satisfied?
Were you also satisfied?
Look, I have
so you see, let's not do that. You see, everything that we are doing,
I was not satisfied.
If you are not satisfied, what do you do as a Ghanaian?
I've challenged it through my MP. That's why you are there. Or you didn't
Alfred,
ask the question.
All that I'm trying to say, listen to me, all that I'm trying to say, I am a Ghanaian first and foremost. I am a young man. The cry of the people, especially young men and young men in this country, is of utmost concern to me. My party, if it engages in acts of corruption, it's not something that I am going to support. It's not something that I am ever going to support.
Right.
But let's be very cautious of how we deal with some of these issues, so that we don't dent reputations of persons, we don't dent reputations of people without any basis. Because when you are unable to substantiate it, maybe in the words of Mr. Martin Pebu, let's name and shame. It is part of the remedies. You name and you shame without any legal basis. When you are unable to substantiate it, at the time you have named and shamed and you have created an impression that there was a corrupt act without any basis. Let's not do that. I want on Mr. Martin Pebu, the Honorable Okudzeto Black and the NDC, to engage, or if you like, work on the path of fighting corruption. We will support them, but they should be able to do so without necessarily hurting integrities and reputation. Because today, it is the NPP. It can be you tomorrow. Let us not create an impression that even the Oral Committee, when its tenure ends, by the time that the new Attorney General is appointed, in their own words, meaning from when the Attorney General will be appointed somewhere around February or March, there will not be any suspicion as far as corruption corruption is concerned. That cannot be the case. It does not even show good faith. It's as if you just want to hang people on the altar of corruption and just dent the reputations of people just like that.
A legitimate question you ask, and that's why a committee member is here. And if you're listening to me, I made that point quite clearly, that beyond just the campaign of politics, which you successfully did in 2016 and came into power, in fact, if the kind of campaign of corruption that you ran against John Mahama was anything to go by, he shouldn't have even had the confidence to come and contest again and win an election. So if this is happening now, Ghanaians are wide awake to know that beyond just the campaign, we want to see evidence. And that's why this aura, we're going to follow it.
Because you've told the Ghanaian person that $178 million is fraught with corruption.
That's why I'm saying
you have told the Ghanaian person. But without letting him know what constitutes the $178 million.
Beyond just the politicking and the campaign, there has to be action in the fight against corruption.
No problem.
So we will see how this goes.
We will support them to do that.
You say you will support them.
Yes.
Okay.
But you see, you as a media personality, Alfred, you as a media personality, on this you as a media personality, somebody comes to tell you that $178 million is suspicious of corruption without knowing the line item. Is that how you do it?
So we take conversation here, course we are. What do you are saying? And some Vincent now okay, who saying, and no say the Oral Committee we know about by witch hunting be, and I said they are just creating impression to make people feel say bia na na do dan kwa kufuado ene na aban abogana for krono ana. Mesrew se bo modern na kire wadwen e wo comment section box wo. And then so and your first time wapiemu RAZ Media so ametso se bo modern na subscribe to the channel na nyuma notification bell no said ebaya the video ebetum bribiana obeye nipa obedikanya nensa ebeka video no. Take care and happy Merry Christmas.